Welcome to Blade HQ, everybody. Today is Monday, September 29th, 2025, and we have a ton of new knives from BladeHQ.com to talk about. It's going to be a lot of fun. Today's episode is sponsored by one of our favorite brands around here, Vosteed. This is the Vosteed Corgi V, and what I really like about Vosteed is how innovative they are with their mechanisms and everything, but how affordable they are as well. So this is their Vencor lock, so you just push on the pivot here, and it allows the knife to drop shut. It has this really interesting front flipper here, so it comes out, but also you have a top flipper with jimping here, which allows you to use it like a flipper, which is pretty incredible for how subtle it is, which I really appreciate. Like, this is a very clean knife, but the more you hold it, the more you see that they have really paid the attention to make it right. And I really appreciate that about Vosteed. And best of all is the pricing. You can usually get a great Vosteed with a titanium handle and luxury blade seals and everything for well this side of 200 bucks. So Vosteed is one of our favorite brands at Blade HQ. They've had a really great last year and the last 3 years. They've only been around for 3 years, but they have really made a name for themselves in the industry. Thanks for sponsoring this video, Vosteed. These knives will be given away today in the New Knives Live. So if you're watching this live right now at noon Mountain Standard, we have it coming up very shortly. And if you are not watching this live, join us next Monday at noon. Let's make this the party. And without further ado, let's start talking about new knives. Starting with this, from Jack Wolf Knives, we have the Scuffle. And the Scuffle is a manual folder that uses a flipper and a frame lock, or a bolster lock on some of these, I guess you could call it. But a very nice S90V blade. Comes in a few different flavors. My personal favorite is this sort of iced out purple titanium one, and the satin blade. Anyway, these are very luxury folders, and that's just kind of all there is to say about the Jack Wolf in general. They don't spare expense on anything. An absolutely beautiful blade with a hair-splitting, super thin edge, a milled titanium pocket clip, and one thing I really appreciate there is we have internal mounting, so you have no screws out here, and that also allows you to get away with just one screw on the show scale here. So it's a very clean-looking knife as well, but it's going to be pretty easy for you to take apart and maintain should you need to. Absolutely dialed. These things are going for $399. And one thing to know about Jack Wolf is Jack Wolf does not have like a list of knives that they're constantly making. They're almost drop, if you will. Like, they drop their knife and then you have to wait a while for it to come back. So if you are interested in these ones, I would act fast because they're already selling pretty quick. Excuse me, they come out on Friday, but they always sell out quick. That is a pretty standard Jack Wolf procedure, is they sell out really fast. I think my personal favorite is this one with the full titanium frame lock. But yeah, these are always popular knives, and they're always pretty few and far between. Jack Wolf is a pretty small operation, but they make a lot of really cool stuff. So if you want these, be waiting on Friday, and they absolutely will be selling fast that day. Next up, from We Knives, we have a couple of knives, starting with this one. This is the Ryzen. And for all of you knife heads who are really part of the community, you will know Raven the Pirate. Sam Tran, he's from Germany, and this is his design with We, and it is just super classy. And it's super Sam, too. Sam is a very tasteful design kind of guy. He likes it dark, he likes it a little bit rugged, but also gentlemanly and refined. And I think that is a perfect exemplification of what the Ryzen is. You get a really nice conventional handle. When you pick it up, it feels familiar. It's like a knife, but you look at it and it looks unlike many knives before. One of my favorite things is how he put this little harpoon tip here. So you can put your finger up there and you have really good control of the blade if you're like cutting fruit or opening a package or whatever, but it also looks really great. You have a 20 CV blade here, titanium handle scales. It is just a really, really nice knife. Sam, if you're watching, you did a really good job with this one, and we love the fact that you're designing knives nowadays. Next up, you custom knife heads will recognize this guy. This is the Brian Ty design tie down, also made by We. And what I really appreciate here is this is the first Brian Ty production knife I've seen where they actually did the integral. And I will tell you, an integral, by the way, is this handle is just one piece of titanium. You have one screw going through here, which holds the blade in place, and you have one screw back here that holds the pocket clip in place. But other than that, the full handle is just one billet of titanium with a nice carbon fiber inlay. I've said it before, and I will say it again. I believe that Brian Ty is the greatest machinist in the custom knife world. His customs and his integrals are so incredible. Like, imagine this, but imagine quite a bit more fluting on the back, and the full thing is out of carbon fiber. Like, that is so incredibly difficult to machine, but he does it so well. And I think We really showed us what they could do with this, because this is no easier to machine than his customs, but they made it into production knife. And then also we have a M390 blade with the beautiful compound grind that you see on all kinds of Brian Ty customs, and a drop shut button lock. This thing is dialed to a T, and it is also really big. This is like a 4-inch blade, and I put my hand on here, and you have a fair bit hanging off here, which this is just such a statement piece of a knife. And I saw this and I was like, how much is that? And I looked at the price tag and I thought my wife would probably never say yes to it. These are going for $4.99, but for this amount of milled titanium and this compound grind and this hand polished satin and everything, this is basically a custom knife that you were getting for $500. And I really appreciate that we took the time and energy to hold no bars and make sure that this just really dialed in perfect. I almost don't have words anymore. Like, they really nailed the Brian Ty tie down. And I hope to see what they can do with more Brian Ty designs in the future. Next up, we have this one. The name always gets me. Amarok, I want to say it's called. And this one is pretty clearly a karambit. It is a self-defense style knife. And there's a few things about this I really appreciate. One thing is, when we think of tactical knives, we often think of a combat style knife. But when I think of tactical people, I think of like first responders. And I would say, at least in my town, until as of late, in Orem, Utah, the first responders spend a lot more time rescuing than they do fighting. And I think that this is a nice mix, because you have a nice steel backspacer here with a crowned tip there, which you could probably use to break glass if you needed to. You go, psh, glass broken. But also, you have a seatbelt cutter here. And one thing I will say about seatbelt cutters is oftentimes, like if this is gonna be carried on your offhand or something, if you're gonna stuff this seatbelt cutter in, it could open your pants up because it would cut your seam of your jeans. But here, they have this little hook opener that is bolted on and is nice and wide, wider than the blade. So that way, this will let your pants fly over that belt. If you need to use it, you can open the blade and you can wedge a seatbelt in there and cut. And that'll be really nice, but it won't cut your pants, which is really thoughtful. But then, if you are doing the more conventional tactical approach, this is also a really nice Wharncliffe karambit style combat knife. And also a really good price on it as well. $82.25 is getting you this with a lot of bells and whistles for the modern tactical practitioner. Very nicely done, Civivi. And the next up from Sencut, we have the Vornix. And the Vornix I like because it kind of has the lines of your classic hunting knife maybe, but the full micarta handle, these nice crowned spine and forefinger, I suppose, these crowned liners, so it's gonna be really comfortable in your hand as you're pinching it for a long time, and a beautiful, really deep hollow grind. This is one of the sliciest knives we've seen on new knives. And it would be a great hunting knife, but it'd also be a great EDC knife, maybe a picnic knife for slicing apples at the campsite or whatever. This is just a really well done thing. What I also appreciate here is a very clean look, but these holes are ported, so if you wanted to swap your pocket clip for left-handed carry, you can do the same. Thumb stud and flipper opener. Just a really great knife and a really great price for $41.99. Sencut is a really great place to pick up a budget knife because their knives also come hair-popping sharp right out of the box. Next up, we have the final installment of the Hogue Misto Element series. This one is the Earth one, and it is my personal favorite of the bunch. We have a black stone-washed Magna Cut blade, these bronze-finished thumb studs, as well as spacers on the back here. And then this Earth Brown 50 Shades of FDE rich light handle scales. So it's gonna be nice and easy to carry, it's gonna be light, it's gonna be strong, it's gonna be ready for all of your adventures here on the planet Earth. And I love sort of the topographic pattern that we get on all of the Elements series. Honestly, if you're a knife collector, collecting the full Elements line would be super fun. And the Misto is just such a great knife, a really nice knife to carry every single day. If you want to see a great review on it, go check out my buddy Aaron over at Gideon's Tactical. He did a review on the wood version of the Misto. And it was just I was impressed with how well it did because he takes it outside, it does EDC stuff. It's just a great all-around knife. And the fact that they made a great all-around knife that is so distinctive in so many different colors, it's just so much fun. It makes it very collectible, or if you're just somebody who wants a knife that sort of fits your personality, you can find a Misto that does it. Next up, from my friend Liang Ma, we have the Warrior 3. And this one, he calls it a Warrior, but I see an everyday carry knife in this. So it's not an integral, but you could be forgiven for thinking it was. You can see this line where the seams meet in the back. But in the hand, it's every bit as comfortable as an integral, but it's gonna give you a lot of the same easy maintenance factor that you get out of a non-integral, which I really appreciate. It gets you the best of both worlds. And then a beautiful Tanto blade with a compound grind, so you can get that fun little curved line right there at the tip, and just an easy knife to carry, easy knife to operate. Liang Ma has a very clean taste in the way he designs his knives. He definitely has something for everybody. He's got the fixed blades, he's got kitchen knives, he's got tactical, he's got everyday carry, and this one is no exception. Like, it just shows his range as a designer, and an absolutely beautiful piece indeed. I love the micarta inlays because they are just flawless with how flush they fit with everything. You don't feel a seam between the micarta and the titanium. The only thing that you can feel is the ever so slight warmer texture that you get from the micarta. An absolutely beautiful knife. These are going for $320. Next up, we have some knives that need no introduction. We've got the Heretic Pariah. These are the auto versions. No thumb holes on these guys. And what's fun here is we have that same UV reactive Cerakote finish that we had on some of the knives from last week. And I brought along a little UV light just so you can see how these pop. That stuff glows so bright under UV. And I know that UV is something that a lot of phones and a lot of other stuff are coming out with these days, where you have access to a UV light. And it's just a little way to make your knife pop. These are already statement pieces of knives with this beautiful Cerakote finish. And just to give it something a little bit more to grab onto, it's just so much fun. And other than that, it's still a MagnaCut bladed and aluminum handled tactical behemoth of a knife, but now it's got these really fun UV popping lines or fracture patterns on them. I don't know what they're calling it, but it's really cool. Next up, going fixed blade, we have more from the auxiliary manufacturing production line. This is another great knife name, the Carl Jr. Deadhead. And I don't know where that name comes from. I'd love to ask, but yeah, it comes in either this green micarta and unfinished or stonewashed, or this black G10 and black coated. And for auxiliary manufacturing, which is definitely known as a self-defense knife company, I think I'd go with this black one. But I could see why you'd go green, because this is also just a great utility knife. It has, I don't know if you'd call it a Wharncliffe or a standard or a spear point, I don't know. A blade that wants to pierce for sure, but also a tall enough grind that you could do some pretty good slicing with this, and its handle is just so nice. I love auxiliary manufacturing handles. These also come with very nice Kydex sheaths. And look at the little take up here, just click, and then just pops right out, which is really nice for all you tactical folks out there who want a nice, clean, and distinctive and easy to replicate draw sequence. Just so perfect on the Kydex. Taco styles, if you want to do inside the waistband, in the pocket, whatever you want to do. And it comes with this little clip on the back, but you can swap this out for soft loops and ulti-clip, whatever you want. And it's just such a great everyday carry self-defense blade. And it's a fixed blade, so you don't have to be worried about opening a folder, engaging a lock, whatever. So a great choice for all of you self-defense inclined folks out there. And the last knife we have on the table is from Demko Knives. This is the Demko Free Reign. You may have recognized it. It has the really nice sheath. I'll talk about the sheath here for a minute. What you can do is you can pop these screws out, and you can just take the whole sheath apart. You can pull these little side things out, and you can clean the sheath inside and out. You don't have to get dust stuck in there or anything. Has a nice belt loop, but you don't have to use it. You can use a tech lock or whatever you like, and it's just a nice sheath. And then the knife is the star of the show. A very nice rubberized handle, covers the fullness of the blade. However, it's also a nice thick stick tang, if you will. I guess it's not quite a full tang, so it doesn't extend to the sides of the handle, but you do get a very nice grip and a very rugged knife. And a CPM 3V blade, USA made on this is the clip point version, going for $180. Now, I dare you to find a USA made blade with a 3V blade of lesser price. I don't think you'll find it. That's just such a good price and such a good size for a nice outdoor survival tactical knife, if you will. This one's the black one. We also have the blue one with the gray handles. And I know that when the original one came out, I had some coworkers who thought this kind of had like Dakine Burton branding, so it's like a snowboarding knife. And I'm like, can you imagine strapping this to your back and going like backcountry skiing or boarding or something? It would look the part, but then when you hit a tree and need to make yourself a crutch to get off the mountain. I would much rather have a free rein than not. Anyway, that is just a sampling of the new knives that you can get at BladeHQ.com this week. Head over to the new arrivals category. Once again, thank you to Vosteed for sponsoring this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you all next time.